let's yeah, hey. Today we're gonna talk about getting into shape and getting into fitness. A lot of people struggle with that. Like a lot of people nowadays, they struggle with getting into fitness, getting into lifting, getting into all sorts of things, getting into shape. A lot of it is just like there's just too much going on around them. Like it's like the task of getting into shape takes too long. It's like, and it feels like you're getting crushed down by what everyone else is posting online and everything. And I'm here to just kind of explain like what are you supposed to do about that? And I'm going to start with a story. When I was about in 7th grade, and this was right after COVID was ending, and I was probably at the worst shape of my life. Quite literally, mentality was down, my mental was down, I was physically out of shape, and I felt like I needed to change something. So I decided, because I couldn't walk from point A to point B without like basically dying. Like I couldn't run or jog for very long, and I just like I thought that was like sad, because like I'm like a little kid, like I should be like pretty energetic, right? Like I shouldn't be like this old man already. And that's where I began. One sec here. So we have these trails, right? And they run through our town, and I decided I would do a walk/run because I wanted to get to be able to actually go on runs, because I was physically incapable of doing so. So imagine I am going on, so I walk a block and then I run a block, and then I walk a block and then I run a block, and I go for about a mile. Ooh, that was bad. And it's like I can barely do it, but you know, I do that for like a week, and then now I'm able to actually ride my bike, and I can ride that for miles on end. So I start doing that, and I do that for about a month or two until eventually I actually get hit by a car, which ruins everything. Like it messes me up for a bit. But after that whole incident, I start going to the gym finally, and then it's like it just slowly, you know, starts from the bottom, and you know, it builds up into this huge thing. And I think the most important thing to learn from this story is how much the purpose of what you're doing, or the goal of what you're doing, matters. Like a lot of people have bad goals in mind, and they don't have very strong goals that will keep them going and keep them moving toward what they're wanting to do. A lot of people, that's where they fold, if that makes sense. And one thing I can pride myself in is just having that good goal in mind and good mindset when I started actually lifting. And that's one thing where a lot of people fail. And I think the best place to start in goal making is a mindset thing. It's like hard to explain, but I guess it just avoid certain things, and like avoid things that involve your perception, like, you know, like avoid things that worry about what other people think of you, or avoid things like, oh, I want to just be stronger, I want to be perceived as better looking, stuff like that, because that stuff doesn't end up lasting very long, right? It's like, I think there's much better ways to do it. I think the best way, well, not the best way, but the way I did it was not focusing on how I look, but just like focusing on, you know, the more important thing, which is like making myself better, like a better person, because making myself more able to I guess just making my goals correct. So it's most important when you make these goals to also start small. So for example, I started with just a walk. I just started with just a walk with like mini runs. I just started that. It was nice and simple, and it was like barely a mile, and I could barely make it. But that's perfect. And I think that plus a little bit of mindset will help you be consistent. And then when you make it consistent, you can finally make it into a habit, to where now it doesn't matter how you feel about what you're doing, like you're still going to do it. So if you ever want any advice on mindset, the perfect person to visit is actually a guy by the name of Rocket Jump Ninja. And and he actually was like my intro into building a better mindset for myself. And he's what allowed me to be so consistent, if that makes sense. And I'll just send I'll put him in the description so you can go watch him. I'll put his playlist that I watch specifically, because I don't know, he specifically helped me get better at some of the things that I was wanting to get better at. But so if you can create a good mindset, you can create a habit, and then when you create the habit, it'll basically make it very hard for you to stop lifting, and that is very helpful, if you ask me. And so another thing that stops people a lot is like what is it? Is actually their situation. So on to our next point. It's just like the situation of people definitely affects the way, like affects their ability to lift or go and get into shape, because they'll make all these excuses like, well, I don't have a gym near me, so I can't go to the gym, therefore I can't actually get into better shape. And it's kind of sad, because that's not true. There's many other ways to get into shape than just going to the gym. And it's this thing like where like they will use that as an excuse to say, oh, I can't do it, but it's just an excuse. Like, if you don't have a gym, you can go outside and you can go walk like I did. For the first 2 years of my getting into shape journey, it was like I didn't have a gym, so I would just go on walks. I'd run and do all sorts of things. And so their situation, it doesn't actually matter that much. And if you don't think you can get into the gym, if you don't have one immediately available, then you can consider things like a home workout, or you can get into calisthenics, you can get into running, you can get in all sorts of things. You can go to the nearest park and like play basketball or something. There's all sorts of things you can do. Those are like all good ways to get into shape. And it's just really sad because a lot of people use that as an excuse. And a lot of people also make the excuse that they just have lack of equipment. They don't have any dumbbells or barbells or anything, and they don't have a gym near them. But I say, like, you have your legs and you have your arms. You can do all sorts of things with those. All sorts of, like, especially calisthenics. And if you really want equipment, then you should go work for that as well, if that's also a problem. But in the end, you don't actually need equipment to get into shape. You just need a mindset, a mentality, and you need to stay consistent. And a lot of people overlook that. And it's really sad. Another thing is a lot of people, will blame lack of free time. And I say that, like, if you really want to get in shape, you will find time to get in shape. So it doesn't matter about free time, because you can always find an hour to go work out. And, like, believe me, you can. Like, a lot of people will make this excuse that they have no free time, but again, it's just another excuse. Because you can always find time for stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, I do it all the time. Like, I'm a busy person, and I have to go to the gym at like 10 p.m. at night, and I just go, A lot of people would just, be like, oh no, I can't go at that time, I'm already too tired or something. But no, it's all because you don't, like, it's all because of mentality, not because you actually don't have free time. Another issue is, like, a lot of people just are mentally down and mentally, like, not there. And honestly, I understand that completely. I say that if you are mentally down, going to the gym will, like, help you feel more mentally there. It will help you become more mentally up, if that makes sense. And a lot of people overlook that. Like, going to the gym or going on a walk or going on a run will help you feel more mentally better. And that's why, like, that's not necessarily an excuse, but, like, if you feel down, it's good to go to the gym because it'll help you feel better. And a lot of people overlook that too. So think about that. And in general, if you can stay consistent and not let all these excuses take you over, not let other people's perception of you stop you, then you will be very you'll be very disciplined. You'll end up, and it will affect every area of your life from then and on, if that makes sense. So, like, if you're very disciplined, it'll be much easier to get a job, and it'll be much easier to do the things you need to do. And I'm not saying it would be extremely easy all the time. But from this, like, journey I've taken, I have actually been very successful in my job and all sorts of other places in my life. And I think anyone else could be if they go about it the same way I did. Let's see, did I get that? Here comes my teammate. But that's just in general, like, it's very, very beneficial to you if you learn how to, like, if you become sort of disciplined and you keep lifting and you keep trying. Another thing is if you do want to look good and you do want to get stronger, having this, like, mentality to just better yourself will actually allow you to be consistent enough to notice results, instead of if you're just focused on the results. I'm gonna die. Okay, I'm good. But if I'm focused on just looking better, I won't be as consistent in the gym. So I won't actually end up looking better. If I'm focused on other things. Oh, he got me. GG. Whew, I thought I maybe could 2v1 there. But if I'm focused on bettering myself, I'll be much more consistent in the gym, and I'll notice that I actually get stronger, and I notice that I will get better. I'll look better too. And another thing that people overlook is the mental benefits, as working out can be a perfect emotional outlet for when you're stressed or when you're angry. And again, if you're feeling down, not only will it help your mentality more, it'll also be a way to let out some of those emotions. So just things to think about as you are trying to get into the fitness journey. It's just like all the sorts of benefits that you don't even notice. Let's see. Oh, I died of fall damage. Okay. Well, yeah. So, in conclusion, if you want to get into shape and get better fitness, you want to start with a good, strong foundation, a good goal in mind. So, avoiding things that have to do with other people's perceptions of you, things that are attainable in a shorter amount of time, and just starting small with your goal. Sure, you can have like this big overarching goal, but having smaller goals under that will help you, build up to that. And another thing that will help a ton is having like a good mindset before you go into it, right? And that might be easier said than done, but basically, if you have a good mindset, it'll help you to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion. And also going to the gym will help strengthen that mindset on top of that, and it'll also make you more disciplined. It'll make you more consistent, and it'll make it into a bigger habit that'll make you keep going to the gym. Third thing, your situation does not stop you from working out. You do. It's completely up to whether you want to better yourself or not. It is not up to your situation. And maybe you can give me one example where it does completely come down to your situation, but I'll be honest, that's going to be a very, very, very small amount of people, extremely small. And lastly, just keep living, don't ever stop, and just keep working and keep having fun with everything, and don't overthink it. Go into the gym and just work for yourself. Don't worry about what other people are thinking, because chances are they were in the same position you were, and they'll just respect that you're there in the first place to better yourself. So don't you worry, and thanks for listening. Have a good one.